Salute, Knicks Nation. NBC is back. Look forward to it, and I welcome in to another live stream. Someone else is going to be coming back. The New York Knicks head coach, Tom Thibodeau, extended today. We're going to go through that and much more. Salute to the best chat in the biz. Salute Knicks Nation. The streets are buzzing. And we're going to give our reactions to free agency as well. There's some more moves that have happened today, but the big news that Tom Thibodeau has been extended for 3 more seasons on his deal, all the way through to 27-28 season. What does it mean for the organization? What does it mean to you? We're going to get your reactions like we do. I'm going to give you my reactions, and we're going to go through it with the best chat in the biz. Salute, guys. Also, breaking news today, the New York Knicks have added more staff to their coaching staff in terms of Mark Bryant, a big man coach, and I will hear from Ian Begley on that too. And also, James Wiseman, former guys that have worked with Mark Bryant, they're going to give their reactions and their thoughts on him. Right, we'll start with Kendrick Perkins, and I'll bring this up on the big screen. Kendrick said this back in 2021, but Mark Bryant, one of the top assistant coaches in the game, and the credit, right, he's been a 15-year player, 20-year coach now, been around the NBA, worked with basically all the bigs, Dwight Howard, Serge Ibaka, Durant. The impact, we're going to go through it, and looks like a really good add to the staff for the New York Knicks. They will still have Othello Harrington, according to reports from what I'm hearing as well. So the Knicks are beefing up their staff, which is really, really good. Obviously, the biggest story, though, is Tom Thibodeau and his extension now as he returns or stays in the Mecca. He never left, but there's a lot of ways, we're going to go through it. I'll break down, what he's done well and the success he's brought to the organization. A lot of people will talk about, the wins and losses and things like that. I want to talk about the players individually, because there's been a lot of players that have succeeded under Tom Thibodeau and have actually got better. Their games have got better. And we'll go through that as well. But at the very top, breaking news from Woj is that he's going to be remaining the New York Knicks head coach, and he will now become the longest tenured coach since the former championship coach, Red Holzman. That is a huge achievement. Let us know your thoughts, guys. Tibs, right, there's always 2 sides of the coin, right? I don't think you can, talk about Tibs' shortcomings without also acknowledging the success and the good things that he brings, and vice versa. I don't think you can just talk about all the good things and the stability and the success that Tibs has brought without talking about some of the shortcomings. But what it comes down to for me, guys, is there's no better person, I think, to lead this organization for this current day. Right, players want to play for him. He's brought out the success in Brunson's game, Julius's game. Hart's game's gone to another level. Isaiah Hartenstein's game went to another level under Tibs, and he gets players to play as hard as they possibly can play. For that, he deserves so much credit. Not only the team success, obviously it's been that speaks for itself as well. And we're going to go through it. But Tom Thibodeau remains the head coach all the way through to 27-28 season. And now, unfinished business. It's all eyes on winning the championship. This is Tibbs' dream job, guys. This is something that he's always wanted to do. And I respect that because, he held out for a lot of jobs and he's on record to say that this is his dream job. So that means a lot. obviously he's, brought up not far from the area, but look, the success is, that speaks for itself. Walter's in the building. Julian, buzzer beater, Michael Drake, salute Kevin and Gerard. Knicks Nation, salute replay squad. Smash that like button. The New York Knicks streets are buzzing. What are your thoughts, guys? Kevin says long overdue to have a big man's coach. I thought Othello Harrington was doing a pretty good job. That's what what's his next job in the organization. They're both going to be staying on. Othello is still here. And we just bring in more guys. Mark Bryant, right? We went through it at the top of the show. Kendrick Perkins singing his praise. We're going to go through it as well and give you more information on Mark Bryant and what he's going to bring, right? He is hugely respected, right? A 15-year pro and a 20-year coach now. Been in the league 35 years all up, right? And what a career he's had so far. And he's bringing his talents to the New York Knicks now, and as well as with Tom Thibodeau, who also is going to be working with Mo Cheeks. Now, Gerard says the Knicks should have hired Pat Ewing. Salute to the captain, Big Pat. JB, that probably means Scap. Probably going to get minutes. Yeah, I like the way you're thinking, man. Mark Bryant is here to work with all the bigs. Huck Porty. We'll see what happens with Scap. But of course, Mitchie's been improving throughout his career as well. Let's hope he can stay healthy. But Buzzer, with Patrick Ewing, like that's one of my dreams, to have Patrick back with the organization and working with the New York Knicks. We'll see if that happens one day. But I don't know if he was available. He is a free agent, I do think. I don't think he's coaching at the moment. Walter with the $1 million question. Can Mark Bryant help Sims develop his offensive game? We're going to dive into that now, but we heard quotes from James Wiseman giving credit to Mark Bryant. Wiseman, we know, he's had an up and down career, mostly down, but obviously, he was picked so high. But he's saying he was very instrumental in teaching him fundamentals of the game. So, yeah, Mark Bryant will really help. Here we see Corey say Mark Bryant appeared to be a favorite of Jalen Duren and James Wiseman. We've seen photos of him working out with Duren in this offseason. Now he's headed to the Big Apple, right? So the New York Knicks are getting some of the best assistant coaches too. Joey says Mark Bryant was PJ Carlissimo's first big recruit from Columbia High School in South Orange. Blazers first rounder in '88. Played 15 years in the league, immediately followed by 20 straight as an NBA assistant coach. Has anyone else spent the last 35 straight years in the league? Doubt it, too. And as Ian Begley saying, Bryant, most recently with the Pistons, is widely viewed as one of the top big man coaches in the NBA right now. So, yeah, Walter, if anyone can help with Jericho, Mark Bryant is a really, really good bet, too. Look at all that experience, man. Being a pro for 15 years, 20 years as an assistant coach, working with all these guys, I'm excited. And look, you guys know I'm high on Huck Porty and Skapensev too, but I dug up this tweet. I found Kendrick shouting out Mark Bryant. This is back in 2021. Let me introduce you to one of the top assistant coaches in the game. Don't get enough credit. To ask Dwight, Serge, Durant, carry the hell on, says Kendrick. Dirty Dancers in the building. In terms of scoring an offensive game, Mark Bryant might be helping more defensively with Jericho. Jericho Sims is never going to be an offensive-minded guy, but yeah, if he can work on his little hooks and be more fundamental, that would be a huge win for us. But also, we had some leaks in preseason now. The New York Knicks will be facing Minnesota in the preseason, and we're going to go through that too. 6 o'clock Central Time, and I'll bring that up on the screen, so we can chop that up as well. But the big story today is that Tom Thibodeau is staying as the New York Knicks head coach beyond his current deal, right? All the way through to 27-28, right? And I'm going to go through the list of players firstly, and we'll give out Tom Thibodeau his accolades and the road ahead, right? Because the work isn't finished yet. And we'll talk about what has to be done, right? But for me personally, right, and we don't know the exact figure, right? Obviously, there's no cap on the front office, right? You can pay what you want to pay, and no doubt Tom Thibodeau's gotten handsomely paid. But Ian Begley says with regard to the annual amount, right, we don't know the number, but it's in line with the current market for head coaches. Some rumored amounts have been 10, 11 million, but it is well deserved for Tom Thibodeau. Brought stability to the franchise. I think Leon Rose's first hire, and he's still here. So that deserves credit for Leon, as well as the work that Tibs has put in, right? And, we always talk about Tibbs's, pros and cons and things he has to improve with. And we'll talk about it in the lead up to this season with a stacked roster. But aside from all the success, in terms of the 4th seed, 2 second-round appearances in the last 2 years, that's success for most people, underwhelming for some people. However, individually, right, players that have improved their games with the New York Knicks, right, on this roster, Tom Thibodeau is getting the best out of these guys, right? I'll start with Julius Randle. And I won't touch on the Bulls, but you could go back even and talk about the Chicago Bulls days, in terms of Derrick Rose, the youngest MVP, and Tibs getting success out of a Joakim Noah, Luol Deng, and all those guys. But, yeah, we're here to talk about the Knicks mostly. So, first guy in the building with Julius Randle that showed huge improvements under Tibs. Julius has even gone on record to give Tibs credit and say, I didn't, I never knew what it felt like to play with a coach that really pushed me, and I needed that. He said one of the reasons for coming to the Knicks as well, Julius, wanted the big spotlight, but he wanted a coach that really pushed him to take his game to the next level. And what happened? Julius Randle became an all-star. Now we're looking at a 3-time all-star under the watch of Tom Thibodeau as well. So however much credit you want to pay, there needs to be some credit paid for Julius's success with the ball club, right? And this is no particular order, but next up is Jalen Brunson, right? Yeah, was on the verge of breaking out with Dallas, but once he came to the New York Knicks, his game again went up another level. Hard work, perfect match with those guys, and that's the best way I could phrase it. With this organization, it's just a perfect match with this current roster and these guys that play hard for each other. Julian says this is big news. CT, it probably tells us they're running with the centers they have. That could be happening. I certainly think they're high on Huck Porty. Jericho is still really young and cheap, and Mitchie could still, improve a lot of his offensive game. So, yeah, I think a lot of these guys will probably hang around with the current centers. We'll see what they do. We'll talk about some remaining free agent options as well. As Michael says, I think if Sims can get a hook shot, it can help him. I think Sims's best pathway to becoming a better player for me is defensively. I'm not worried about Jericho offensively so much, fam, but certainly it would be huge. It'd be a nice feather in his cap, if he can improve offensively. But I think Tibs needs Jericho to improve defensively firstly. But yeah, Brunson, top 5 MVP candidate under Tom Thibodeau, hugely successful, landing the big deal, onwards and upwards. The next guy, Mitchell Robinson, under Tom Thibodeau, right, become one of the best rebounders in the league. Also, on track to become defensive player, all defensive team, had he not got injured. So Tom Thibodeau also helping Mitchie's game evolve, as well as the other coaches on the New York Knicks, right? And some lesser heralded players, Alec Burks, the first go around with the Atlanta playoff series that season. Alec Burks had a hell of a season with the New York Knicks and Tom Thibodeau. And then some current Knicks, Josh Hart and Deuce McBride, Dante DiVincenzo, those guys taking their games to the next level under Tom Thibodeau. You see there's a trend, right? This is a pattern now where most players are coming in that are buying in, they're committed to the work and succeeding with the Knicks under Tibs, and their game goes to another level, right? So for me, it speaks for itself, right? Tom Thibodeau, there's jokes going around that he's the center whisperer, but really he just gets the most out of every player. He'll get the most out of you, if you're willing to put in the work as well. So the hard work is the trademark of Tom Thibodeau's legacy, in my opinion, with the Knicks. Whether he gets it done, X's and O's wise, as we shift the conversation towards, what needs to be done for Tibs to be successful here now. He obviously has to utilize the players to the full extent, which is being smart about rotations, not exhausting guys, obviously taking guys out late in games, buying into the load management element, not fully, not like Kawhi Leonard fully, Joel Embiid, but just buy into the notion that, easing guys' minutes on the second of back-to-backs and things like that, I think would be really, really helpful. But overall, like Tibbs' legacy with the Knicks is going to be consistency. He's brought a culture that the Knicks haven't had since the late 90s, with the Riley and the Van Gundys. And it's no surprise that he's from, that tree, the Van Gundy tree. And basically he's a self-made man. He's a self-made man now with the New York Knicks. 2-time coach of the year. And also, consistency now, reaching the second round, right? 2 years in a row. Now, in terms of where we're finished, right? Some people will talk about, okay, he's exhausted, guys. Can he get us past the second round? Well, now, that's what is the next chapter for me. It sets up the next chapter. I think Tibbs has deserved the extension now for the work he's done, but that doesn't mean the work is going to stop, guys. It doesn't mean his career's done and he's in the Hall of Fame now. No, right? This extension just means we appreciate what you've done, continue the work, finish the business. Now, I'm going to get you your guys. I'm going to get you OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges. I'm going to get you, generational guys in Jalen Brunson with the work ethic and the talent of Julius Randle. Go finish it. Go finish the job now. So what I think, this is a message from Leon Rose to say, hey, well done. You've succeeded. You've brought, success to the franchise and the organization, and Dolan echoes the same things, but go finish the job, man. Now, 27 and 28 season, it's in line with all the guys' contracts, right? And you got to also correlate Brunson's extensions and OGs and all of that. You got to think, do they do that? Do they extend with those numbers that they do? Do they join the New York Knicks or rejoin if Tom Thibodeau isn't here? Right, so regardless of your thoughts of Tibs, right, a lot of these players want him here, and they want him here for the long haul, right? So these guys are all together now. This is like close to the final piece of the puzzle now of this off-season, now done and dusted, signed, sealed, and delivered, guys. I'm excited about it. We knew it was coming. But like I said, I just felt like I wanted to talk about the players that have shown improvement under Thibodeau rather than just the X's and O's, and organization. Because, in the true mantra of Tibs, it's about improving every single day, right? Results will come. You've just got to buy into the work and just continue to improve every day. And a guy who was really unheralded was Josh Hart. Um, he wasn't appreciated around the league like he is right now. I mean, for God's sake, he's hosting, he's a guest on a panel of the NBA Finals now. Josh Hart, right? He didn't have a home in Portland like people spoke on. Dante DiVincenzo is grossly underpaid right now. When he joined the Knicks, he wasn't even a splashy free agent, believe it or not. There was people talking about, oh man, DiVincenzo, is that all? Is that all we could get? Now he's spoken about like a potential 6-man of the year candidate, and a hell of a starter in the shooting guard that was unlucky to lose a spot too. For the small sample, I also like what Tibs did with OG Anunoby, right? We had Raptors fans hit us up, and you could do searches on X and Twitter, but there was a lot of Raptors fans saying, hey, we didn't get this level of OG. We didn't get this level of Precious Achua. Where were these guys in Toronto in the 6? So helping these guys turn their games around in a major way, and I look forward to seeing what he can do now with Mikal Bridges, and continue the fine work with that. Dirty Dancer says, if you have some dog in you, Tibs will pull it out. Yep. He's just a basketball lifer, and I think he'll help guys rekindle their passion for the game, even if it's not there at the fullest. And I think Julius is a really good example, right? Left the Lakers, found some success in New Orleans, but like you said, he just wanted someone to pull that dog out of Julius. And when Julius came to the Knicks, it was like a perfect match early, and he got, became an all-star immediately. And so, yeah, I think Tibs deserves so much credit for these guys, and that's why they're really loyal, I think, to Tibs, right? We know there was a point where Tibs was facing the brink of getting fired, I think it was his second season or third, but, Leon stuck true and stayed tight. I think probably because of the locker room. Despite what people say, Tibs has never lost the Knicks locker room, even during that tough stretch. But now it's like all aboard the Tibs Express too. So, yeah, fine coach, deserves all his accolades, one of the most winning coaches in regular season. How can he best utilize this roster now for the postseason too? But I like our chances. When you're talking about Jalen Brunson, you're talking about Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby now, Julius healthy, and a perfect bench too. Salute guys just joining us. Welcome in Replay Squad as well. Salute. Smash that like button. We've all got the New York streets buzzing. And last night we went through our power rankings, right? I think this is synonymous with the success with Tibs and Leon and the roster, but now the New York Knicks will be coming to the season in the top 4 in most people's power rankings. I got them at number 2. And we're talked about as championship contenders. Now, the best team to dethrone Boston. And that speaks to the level of, the bar has been raised. Tibbs has pushed everyone. Dolan's now out of the way. Leon Rose is giving Tibbs the resources that he needs in getting more coaches, Mo Cheeks. We lost Johnny Bryant. Unfortunately, that was a big loss, but we've now added Mark Bryant, a 20-year assistant coach too. Georgie says, what's up? You're right, Tibbs, get that dog out of here, but the problem is Sims, not that guy. Sims is a very timid guy on the court as well, but I think he has more in him. He's got a man's body. He's a good rebounder, but I think he needs to just be more consistent for me. Dorkasaurus says, do we have an assistant coach that's good at helping people improve their three-point game? Yeah, I mean, we have our shooting coaches. We have, a lot of each player, big players especially, have their trainers as well. And yeah, Julius has got his trainers as well. So I think three-point shooting, Julius has, raised his level, and then it's dipped a little bit. But I think he can become a consistent enough floor spacer at the 4, and especially at the 5. Jalen Brunson's three-point shooting went to the next level last season. Would like to see Mikal Bridges' three-point shooting get better. Last season was some regression. But if he can get back to that Phoenix season, excellent. I thought OG Anunoby's three-point shooting was great. It was as advertised. But obviously, you hope it can get better. Deuce McBride's three-point shooting took a big step up. You also hope that can continue or even get better. And then you talk about Dante. And talk about Dante, man. Absolute flamethrower. Breaking Evan Fournier's record too. That is a huge key for the Knicks' success now. Can Josh Hart, get to a 35, 36% level on an open catch and shoot, man? Hopefully. But that was a great question. That was a great shout. You're the new Knicks. Welcome in. Salute. How you doing? Drew Hanlon, Dirty Dancer. We don't have to hear about RJ Barrett's trainer so much anymore. OG, what an upgrade that was over the Quickly and RJ situation. Those guys got their bag. They just weren't ready yet to push this franchise yet into contention. But right now, we are. And that is a beautiful thing. So I mentioned before, we got some more updates on the Knicks preseason. We'll touch on that right now, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Mark Bryant. For those who's just joining us, welcome in. Great to have you with us. Salute. Smash that like button. We've got the Knicks streets buzzing. For the second straight year, the New York Knicks will be squaring off against the T-Wolves, too. A team that I've got 3 spots below the Knicks in the power rankings. That'll be a spicy matchup. And that will be on October 13, right? 6 p.m. Central Time at MSG, right? So home game against the Timberwolves in preseason. That's the first league via the Timberwolves. I like it. What are your thoughts, guys? I like the fact that we're playing against some of the best competition, right, to square off and get ready for opening night. Because what good is it going to be to play the Brooklyn Nets, the Washington Wiz, and some of these other bad teams, Detroit. So many years in a row we played the Wizards twice, Detroit, Brooklyn, although we enjoy putting the beat down on them. But now we actually get a really good matchup now in preseason at MSG. So that's October 13, man, one day before my birthday. And that is going to be 6 p.m. Central Time, right? What a buzzing time that's going to be. As the New York Knicks take on Ant Edwards, Ant-Man, who's currently repping Team USA. Shout out to the squad. That's my thoughts. I'm glad that we finally get, a good game in preseason. MK says the Knicks better win. Yeah, I think we're poised to take down most of these teams. Really, we didn't have trouble with them at MSG when OG came, and I think that was the first game after the trade. We didn't have much problem taking down Denver as well at MSG. Dirty Dancer says, glad we're not playing the Celtics 3 times like usual. Yeah, that is also, I remember that now. That was a dead rubbers, because we didn't really want to, showcase our full, plays and roster and all of that. So it was kind of pointless. Georgie says, I know I speak for everyone when I say I can't wait for October. Me too, man. So excited. And also the other bit of huge news is, as I played the music at the top of the show, NBC is back, guys. Turner Sports, TNT missed out. They were pipped. Their deal tried to pip Amazon, but it was too late. They didn't fully match the deal. So we won't go through it all, but I know a lot of you have been asking me, and Buzzer Beater was curious as well to see what happened with Turner. And inside the NBA, it looks like if they do something, it'll have to be a different kind of spin-off show. But NBC, now Amazon Prime and Disney, ESPN, have the rights. Right, look forward to NBC being back. Let's see who they get. Right, that is huge news for the NBA. One of the reasons why the salary cap is set to spike, guys, through the roof. Because, I mean, you know, we're going to be talking about guys on $90 million, $100 million contracts, right? Does LeBron want to play till he's 43 so he can be the first $100 million contract guy, right? I won't discount that, you know. What's good, G-Man, Mega, Daryl, and Susan in the building. Knicks preseason game confirmed against the Timberwolves. Assistant coach Mark Bryant, big man coach, working now with the squad. Thibodeau's back. All we have to do is sort out this backup center, and we're ready to roll. Daryl says, should we stand pat and play these young'uns at center? I think we could run it into the season like that. You know, I really think if Mitch is healthy come opening night, I'll be no problem with that, because I know we can make upgrades in December at the deadline. And, you know, I want to see what Sims, Huckpority, Scap can be in preseason as well. But obviously you've got to bring back Precious Achua. I think if you're not bringing back Precious Achua and you're relying on Sims, Huckpority, and Scap as the primary backups, I think that's leaving yourself in a tough situation. But yeah, if you've brought back Precious Achua, then I think it'd be plausible to bring back Sims, Huckpority, and Scap behind him, and see what else you can do. We'll go through the free agent list right now, and it's very slim, and certainly Leon's trying to make a trade to get that backup center, and I think trade is the best way to go. Obviously now Mark Bryant, Fred Katz is saying Bryant overlapped for a long time with fellow New Knicks assistant Mo Cheeks in Oklahoma. Even as a coach, he used to somewhat in jest be known as the strongest man in the NBA. In OKC, he used to guard Steven Adams in post-up drills, and even Adams struggled to move the man. So there you go, man. They don't teach size. And we see some guys commenting. This guy says, Andy, about to turn Jericho into a beast. Real Justin says, Mitch needs him the most. Let's go, let love this. So, hey, I'm always for this, because you know, you're not capped with assistant coaches, front office. Dolan's willing to spend, and that's what we love. Don't forget, he got Casey Smith, the #1 sports science doctor in the NBA. Now he's adding more experience from the big man department coaching. And we had obviously the viral video. Mike Scotto put that out. Our guy Tom Thibodeau's back, right? He'll be the head coach for 4 more seasons, assuming he sees out the deal, and will be the longest tenured coach since the last championship coach, the great Red Holtzman. What are your thoughts on no longer TNT? Right, I'm not crying about it, but I'm glad, for my childhood that NBC is coming back. Susan says, does that mean NBC will be hosting the games? Yep, absolutely. They will. There'll be a share. There'll be a package for Amazon Prime as well. Maholy King says Knicks should be getting more prime time. No doubt about it. Best believe that. I think we're going to have 20 plus, probably 25 national media games, man. It's going to be a lot of money. Yep. Dirty Dancer says we're going to need 10 streaming services just to catch all the games. Yep. I know the tough situation with the blackouts, but yeah, NBA League Pass is my savior. Right, I'm not going to gloat about it, but yeah, I get every single game on the one league pass with no blackouts. But yeah, they really do need to sort out some streamlined thing. No doubt about it. Susan says, with the Knicks players taking pay cuts, that shows the determination that the Knicks have as a whole to win. It's not always about the money. OKC will realize that about Hartenstein. Yep. Yeah, I think what OKC are going to get with Hartenstein is probably a 75 to 80% version of what we had. Again, it's like the 5 Infinity Stones, 4 of them are strong. When you put together the 5th one, it's like you get the full power. Yep, jabroni. Yep, we're going to get more national televised games. Yeah. Good riddance to TNT in terms of the way they covered the New York Knicks, like Dirty Dancer says. But look, I love hearing Charles talk about wider topics, just not the New York Knicks. Shaq, brings some good things, but again, very, very, very biased against the New York Knicks. Ernie, respect to him. Won't be surprised if they do a little spin-off or something. He's eternal lifer, so I don't think he'll be moving anywhere. Same with Chuck. I think he's going to retire. But then, obviously Kenny the Jet Smith, I don't need to talk about him because, although, he did improve a little bit late and start to give Brunson his props, but it was really, really a bad coverage for the New York Knicks specifically with Kenny, and some pent up feelings that you could sense too. But yeah, I'll miss some of the good, the comedy, the chemistry that those guys had were excellent. Like Shez V says, gonna miss that TNT crew. Buzzabita says 24-hour channel for us. You got the best coverage here, fam. And you guys make up the content as well. You guys are a big part of this. Salute. So yeah, the pieces are coming together. The NBA deal, we've got our coaches now secured. What are some other huge news that dropped last night, right after our show, and we previewed this to happen, but we got to fully address now the signing of Rokas Jokubaitis in Israel, the big club there, Maccabi Tel Aviv. I've talked about this situation a lot, so I'll keep it short with this one. But I'm not upset that Rokas isn't coming. Whatever club he's signed with, obviously it's stirred up some controversy. But in terms of just keeping it New York Knicks related, Rokas, there was no minutes on this team for him to come. Now, is that, a product of the Knicks just not believing in Rokas enough to make room? Is that, it was just too late? He was going to play the Olympics, and we all thought that Rokas was going to play the Olympics. So there was a high possibility we were never going to see him in Summer League. I think that happened very last minute. We did get to see him in Summer League. He looked pretty nice. I think it's a smart move, though, for the New York Knicks to not rush into trading him yet. I see a lot of people just say, oh, why not just trade his rights away? We could get something. I think there was no reason to rush that yet because we still hold his rights. And if he says, look, I'm cool with waiting, I want to go back to Europe or wherever, Israel, and play. I'm 23 still. I'll work on my game. And then maybe, in the future, if you want to trade me. Or if you want to bring me. But I think, there was no rush. but I'm certainly not upset at Rokas like some people are. A lot of people want him to come immediately and are like frustrated. I get it. They're frustrated that we keep hearing about his name and he just doesn't go away. But I'm like, it's not like we talk about him all day, every day. You know, he is a Knicks draft pick. He's 23, the same age as Tyler Kolek. He's years younger than Jericho Sims and Obi Toppin. If you want to look at it that way, he's still very much a prospect. In the very early parts of his career. And I don't think the Knicks need to rush trading him yet. We'll see what happens next year. If a guy has to get moved, I won't talk about names, but if the roster does thin out a little bit, he can come. One of the questions people have asked me is, does that mean Rokas can't come in the future? He's signed a 3-year deal now. So Rokas can come. Most of these contracts have an NBA out clause. So if the Knicks say next season we'll pay your club a buyout, we can bring you over. So, this isn't locked into anything for 3 years in terms of him not coming to the New York Knicks. That door will open up if the Knicks want it to open up. It's all about the New York Knicks, If they want Rokas, he'll come. If they buy his contract out with that club, he'll come. This is just him securing, his day job right now because the New York Knicks just don't have an opportunity. Right, so I think he looks solid in the summer league, and we'll see if the Knicks end up trading him, right, to back up to upgrade their center. So yeah, that is official too. But on the point guard situation, the guys we do have, you got to be hyped about it because we've never been this deep at the point guard spot, right? For closest to as long as I've been a fan, really. I know we used to have, even then, we had Charlie Ward, Chris Childs, very unheralded guys. Let's keep it a buck. Then it was the Raymond Felton, Derek Harper shout out as well. It was a combo. But let me know in the chat, guys, have we been in a better position at the point guard since you've been a fan? And if so, what era? What era was that? Right. Are you happy with our point guard situation? Is it the best it's been since you've been a fan? Right. We don't want to talk about all the names, but, we got to go back to the Emmanuel Mudiay's, Trey Burks, Frank Ntilikina's of the world, Ron Baker's, Jimmer Fredette's. Shout out Ray Felton, right? Brought some stability. Shout out to Chauncey Billups. Well, I was excited for the Chauncey cup of coffee, but then Chauncey got amnestied. Chauncey Billups, right? When he hit that big shot in Miami, South Beach, I was like, yes, we have a Hall of Fame point guard. Was it like, and then we flamed out in the playoffs. He got injured. I think he busted his Achilles, and he busted a tire, and we just couldn't finish that playoff series out. But yeah, I believe if we had brought Chauncey Billups back for another season, he might have had a little bit left in the tank. He might have had a little bit left. And then we brought Jason Kidd, who I was excited about. But that was 3 years too late. That was 3 years too late, guys, with J Kidd, right? He finally found a 3-point shot, only to retire the next year and leave to coach the Brooklyn Nets. To salute Kerry. Jabroni says Jose Calderon. Dirty Dancer says we're asking if there's any senior citizens. Yep, Earl the Pearl, Clyde, DJ Smitty says we had Starberry as well. I never forget, man. I was so hyped when we got Starberry, man. I was 20, turning 21, and my friends bought me for my 21st birthday. They bought me a Starberry jersey as well. I appreciated that. Shout out to them. But yeah, I was so hyped after that trade. Shout out to John Starks, one of my favorite New York Knicks ever. Shesvy. Jabroni, Shane Larkin, small hands, who could forget? Also, shout out to Shane Larkin, man. If there's ever a guy who's had a better career after the NBA, it's him. You know, he's absolutely killed it in Turkey, in the Euro League. Obviously Marbury had a crazy career in China. Wildly successful career after the NBA in China. But I think Shane Larkin would have to be next in terms of New York Knicks. After that, he had some talent. Also, shout out to Jaren Grant too. Right, I was hyped for Summer League when the New York Knicks drafted Jaren Grant, man, son of Harvey Grant, I think brother of Horace Grant. I thought Phil Jackson was onto something with that one. I thought he was cooking with the Jaren Grant. That was a fun Summer League squad as well, man. It's funny we say Jaren Grant because he wore number 13. I remember Jaren Grant donned the number 13, and now it's our guy, Tyler Kolek. So here we are, guys. We've come full circle with the point guard situation. And the answer really is, for me anyway, and for most of you guys, is no. We've never had a point guard situation this good since I wasn't born. We're going back to the championship backcourt of Earl the Pearl and Clyde as well. That's not comparing Deuce McBride or Kolek or Campaign, to those guys. No way. But in terms of competence and depth, I think this is the next best era of the New York Knicks point guard situation, right? Obviously Brunson is what he is. You could, some people might want to compare him to Starberry in terms of talent, but obviously it's clear that Brunson is poised to be a Hall of Famer, in my opinion, and achieve a more league success than Starberry. But Deuce McBride, right? I'm glad that the talk has died down. Rokas now looks like he could be expendable and used in a trade for a big, not Deuce. And then of course I'm high on what we saw with Kolek, with his ability to just set the table for guys, and I'm glad we picked up Campaign as well. Yeah, Starberry was the Michael Jordan of China. They've got a statue for the man as well, right? I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment. To go to a foreign country, when you first couldn't even speak the language, and then when you leave, they built you a statue. I mean, that's just... I think there's a Stefan Marbury museum in China as well, with the Beijing Ducks. I mean, that's insane. I don't know if that'll ever be done, fam. An NBA player going overseas to a foreign-speaking country, and they build a museum and a statue for you as well. Right, that's insane. So, the big man coach, right? I want to focus on that a little bit more, because the big situation is the final piece of our puzzle, right? All the pieces are coming together, guys. Rokas now, not going to be coming to us, right? The NBA deal, signed, sealed, and delivered now. TNT out, NBC in. Tom Thibodeau returning. We knew that was a formality. We're hearing some off-season, preseason confirmation. One game against the Wolves on October 13, 6 p.m. Central at MSG. And the Knicks bring in one of the most respected big men coach in the NBA. Now let's hear from James Wiseman on this pickup. Now, but yeah, we talked about Fred Katz and what Bryant brings with his size too. It's funny, we swap one Bryant out and we bring in another Bryant as well. Here he is as a player and as a coach when he was with Phoenix too. Mark Bryant, 35 years in the NBA as player coach. Now, shout out Prezi, Marty Collins, too. Kerry Cox, appreciate you. Guys, smash that like button. Let us know your favourite Knicks point guard. I'd love to hear it, honestly. You know, there was obviously, you know, a lot of talented point guards come through New York City as well. Starks was one of my favourite guards. Obviously, he wasn't a point guard. I probably like Derek Harper more than others as well. Back in that championship run, we had some conversations from Fred Katz and the on the low post, Zach Lowe, talking about Randall and the underrated ability for him to return and take this team, to greater success as well. I won't go into that, but that's a good listen. One key free agent that's been waived now today, Kenneth Lofton Jr. and Darius Baisley. Would you have any interest in Kenneth Lofton? He's bounced around. There's certainly talent, but it looks like he just seems to be out of shape a lot of the time too. I'm excited for TNT to be back. Let's hear Begley on this extension, and then we'll hear from Wiseman on Mark Bryant.
The Knicks and Tom Thibodeau always knew they'd find common ground on an extension this offseason, but the Knicks had prioritized getting the big player moves done in the offseason before turning their attention in earnest to Thibodeau. So the Knicks and Thibodeau on Wednesday agreeing to an extension of 3 seasons will keep Thibodeau on the Knicks sidelines through 2027, 2028. If he makes it through that deal, he will be the longest tenured Knicks coach since Red Holzman, who won 2 championships with the Knicks, their last 2 NBA titles. And with this extension, the Knicks just extending the idea that they have stability here with this organization. If you followed this team for much of the last 2 decades, 2+ decades, stability has been mostly lacking, but it seems to be here now. Under Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau is going to be the head coach for a while. Obviously, Jalen Brunson has extended. Mikal Bridges, you would assume, extends. OG Anunoby, long-term deal. So there is continuity. There is some stability here with the Knicks. With regards to the amount of Thibodeau's deal, I'm told that it is right in line with the current marketplace for head coaches. And what you've seen recently for new head coach deals was those deals approaching $10 million annually. I think Thibodeau's deal is right around there in terms of the amount. And the Knicks also on Wednesday adding Mark Bryant to Tom Thibodeau's staff. Bryant most recently with Detroit, grew up in New Jersey and is viewed widely around the league as one of the top big man coaches in the NBA. So the Knicks very happy to get Tom Thibodeau extended and very happy to add Mark Bryant to his staff.
Yeah, very happy, and I'm glad to hear it as well. If you're just joining us here, I talked about my thoughts on Tibs and him getting the best out of all the players that have come through the building and are currently here as well. But yeah, shout out to you guys. You're absolutely on fire, rocking with the best chat in the biz. Smash that like button. The Nick streets are buzzing. Some of the names you guys are mentioning are taking me back as well. Chris Duhan, salute. Yeah, and with the draft back then, Mark Jackson, some amazing point guards that have come through. But yeah, Johnny says, how could we go past Clyde, the GOAT, right? The best Knicks point guard is Jalen Brunson, right? Does he have to win 2 championships to pass Clyde? Most likely, yes, in most people's opinion. I would agree with that, right? But Wiseman gave props and saying that our new big man coach, Mark Bryant, was very instrumental in teaching me the fundamentals of the game, right? So Wiseman, it's funny that he says that, and it's great to hear him give Mark Bryant that credit. But, Wiseman still hasn't, achieved his potential yet. So I don't think that's not really a great example, but that's one of the sound bites that we've got. But yeah, I like the Knicks additions. The upgrades we've made. We brought Casey Smith. Does he help Mitch stay more healthy? Does he help Julius Randle also play a full 82? Don't forget, Julius Randle was the Iron Man on the New York Knicks before the new Iron Man, Mikal Bridges, has come through the building. Right? Julius Randle didn't miss any games at all. He played hurt. He played banged up. And he was just, like Dirty Dancer said before, man, once he came to the Knicks under Thibodeau, he just, pulled that dog out in him as well. Randall, you could kind of feel like he was just, he was just cruising with the Lakers and with the Pels. Once Julius Randle got to the New York Knicks, I think is the first time in his career that he took it, with full focus, and took it the most serious. And that was a lot of because of Tibs. He needed a coach to really push him and get the best out of him too. And look, Mitchie Robinson, I don't think he would have the same level of success if Mitch was drafted, by the another team. Let's say if he went to Detroit. Let's say if Mitchie went to his home team, the Pelicans. If he'd gone to Phoenix even, right? The stability the Knicks culture had around Robinson when we drafted him with Scott Perry, Wesley, Leon and Tibs. Well, I think it was before, it was even before them, before Leon and Tibs, right? It was a Scott Perry, Steve Mills draft. But then when Tibs came in with Leon, I think Mitch's game went to the next level as well. So we're making huge moves, but yeah, I do like the addition of Mark Bryant, Mo Cheeks, the experience we're adding together with Tibs. It's unfortunate we did lose Johnny Bryant, who I think is a more younger, fresh mind that brings new ideas and maybe new philosophies, I think, and relates to the young players more. But look, Spider Mitchell wanted to get him, and Spider got his guy with that one. So, that was a really good pickup for Cleveland. That was our loss, but we've done a really good, work picking up these guys as well. And I think it's onwards and upwards now, guys. I think, it's becoming an A off season, right? It was an A minus before. As I give a grade for Tibbs's tenure so far with the New York Knicks, and I'm going to give him an A minus. I think all the things he's brought, the stability, the success on the court, and all those things, but together with the other side of the coin is the reason why he doesn't get an A or an A plus. Hasn't got us past the second round yet. Has made some mistakes along the way with decision making with rotations and things like that. Some injuries I think could have been avoided, some not. I don't need to break it down, but overall there's been far more success than failures. And really you look at it like, who is the better option? Tibbs, this is his dream job, and he brings a level of dedication to the job that we needed. And for him to now be the longest tenured coach since Red Holzman is an absolute achievement for an organization as storied as the New York Knicks. But that also speaks to the failures we've had with all those coaches, from Larry Brown, Isaiah, Fizdale, Hornacek, Derek Fisher, Kurt Rambis. Mike Woodson was the success in between, right? Pat Riley, Holtzman, Riley, Jeff Van Gundy, and then obviously Mike Woodson. And then you can put Tom Thibodeau's name alongside those successful New York Knicks coaches, right? But none of them have been able to win the chip since Red Holzman, and there's been a revolving door of players, front office executives, Dolan's oversaw most of it. But I think now we've got the right nucleus of all of that. Now, in terms of the off-season overall, right? Mikal Bridges trade, getting OG back, although that was done via the trade earlier, all of those things. Making the draft of Kolek, the additions of Campaign, getting in Keita Bates-Diop in that deal, getting Precious Achua as part of the throw-in. Hopefully if Precious returns, I think all the solid work being laid and the groundwork now, leads me to give the off-season an A so far, right? Backup center, we'll see what happens with that next move, and that has to happen. But I think that could get it to an A+, right? It could be an A+ off-season for the New York Knicks, but right now for me it's an A for our off-season. And look, we're being spoken about as being title contenders. Salute Pfizer, what's up? D Cool, NBC, yep. Seth's in the building, what's up? When will the media and fan narrative end about Tibs running guys into the ground? Even with the injuries, they only had 2 guys in the top 25 in minutes last year. Yeah, I think a part of that will... one thing that'll help quash that a little bit is his rotations late in the game. It's not so much minutes logged total, but I think late in the game, just making the correct calls to play it safe when the game is out of reach. All of those things. Woodson, Danny gives his flowers. Yep, shout out to Coach Woody. I like Mike Miller as well. Yep. We're going to get better coverage, I think, this season as well of our New York Knicks, right? With success brings more respect, right? TNT, as much as they acknowledge Brunson and I credit Charles Barkley for saying that was one of the best free agent pickups in history. He went out on a limb. So Charles was able to give some props, but for the most part, TNT were biased against the Knicks because those guys were old heads, right? They remembered the futile front offices and the coach firings and all of those things. They remember the Isaiah dysfunction, the Larry Brown, Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, and that's why a lot of them are close to Patrick Ewing, with Shaq and Charles Barkley and Kenny had his issues as well. So they had personal resentment towards the New York Knicks. So that's why we didn't get good coverage from TNT on the New York Knicks. And that's no excuse, but the coverage is set to get better. More national TV games, I think, will come this season, guys. I'm excited. Yeah, we saw Brunson, Georgie, at the Yankees today as well. I saw that he did a jersey swap as well. So our big man coach, Mark Bryant, right? Can he improve Mitch's game? Can he improve Jericho Sims? Can he improve Huck Porty? Will he get to work with Skapensev and Precious? We'll wait and see. But we know we could take Kendrick Perkins' word for it, right? He's a part of the New York Knicks family, officially. Kendrick has been going to bat for us now for what seems like a long time now, too. He sees the vision. He saw the vision before most people did, with the likes of Wesley coming in and getting Brunson across the line. Tibs as well. He's a Tibs disciple. And he was paying Mark Bryant props back in 2021. So is it a good bet that he can get the most out of our bigs? I'd like to think so. And I'm going to grade this a B+ to begin with because of the credentials, the experience, and a lot of guys giving Mark his props from around the league, and experience. I love a former player as well. We've got Othello Harrington still as well, so shout out to him too. Doesn't appear that we're losing Othello Harrington, although you just never know. But as I put in the chat at the start of the show, despite the Knicks already having Othello Harrington on the staff as a big man guy, they went out and brought in Bryant. So the Knicks will still have both, according to the New York Post as well. This is by Brian Lewis, I think, of the New York Post. Salute Will, what's up, guys? What grade do you give the New York Knicks off-season so far? I think there's one more piece to finalize, right? One more infinity stone, so to speak, to put into place. But Tibs is back, OG, Randall's returning, Mikal Bridges, the new stone coming in as well, right? Is there a little bit of a musical chairs move around? Does Ryan Arcidiacono come in at some point? That'll be a move that won't surprise me, right? There might be one more roster spot free up. You know, they might put McCullough on a two-way. They might sign Precious and have one more spot. Right, for you, who would that be? Is there anyone else you would like us to add? I'm going to open up now the free agent tracker from Spot Track. And we're going to go through that. Guys, salute to the chat popping right now. And the replay squad, smash that like button. Here we go. So, these are the bigs available via free agency, right? JaVale McGee. And I'm going to... going to fix this thing up and get it sized right so that we can see. Here we go. Look, JaVale McGee, Omer Yurtseven, that's been talked about a bit. Not as familiar with his game. Tristan Thompson, no. Boban, no. Damian Jones, Orlando Robinson just signed a deal to Ollie Sarr, Mika Porter. Man. Last on the list, Harry Giles. And we saw Kenneth Lofton Jr. become available today, guys. Would any of those guys interest you? As I'll bring up the power forwards just to see if there is another option out there. Precious is the best option for me. The best remaining guy. Even Lucas Samanic has signed a deal overseas now. Poku as well. JT Thor. What do you guys think about him, man? He absolutely balled out for South Sudan against Team USA. I really like Dominic Barlow. I would like the Knicks to take a flyer on him, maybe on a two-way. But certainly Thaddeus Young, Gallinari, too old for me. Mook Morris, Markeith Morris, an option. And I do think the Knicks have interest in Davos Bertans too. But if I go all positions, it's going to bring up everyone. Gordon Hayward, right? Evan Fournier, Markel Fultz, Tyus Jones, Luke Kennard, Dougie McBuckets would give us a little bit more shooting. Guys, what do you think? Danny says, do you think McGee is washed? I think so, man. I think McGee is washed, fam. Although Kerry does think that Tibs will get the best out of him. He'll wake McGee up. I think he's just at too late stage of his career for that. I would like us to get somebody more proven. Johnny says, will Bryant be training Hukporti, Sims and Scap in the G League? Or is a big man next step to bring in a starting caliber center? I think the most likely option is that the New York Knicks get the backup center, and I think Mitch stays as the starter because he's tried and tested, and there's the respect there from Tibs. I do think, but yeah, no doubt Bryant will be working with Hukporti, Sims and Precious and Scap if Scap does end up getting in. And Johnny also says if the Knicks bring in another center, it's an A. It's a full A for the New York Knicks offseason. Yep. I got to agree, Johnny. And obviously there is more we can do in other spots as well. Power forward, we are a little bit light. If we're not bringing back Precious Achiuwa, that needs to happen. We need to get Precious Achiuwa back because he can offer insurance at the 4 and the 5. But if we do get a big upgrade at the center position, and you can only do that by signing and trading Precious, then I guess you've got to do that. You know, you've got to make sure that you bring in a really quality backup who's capable of starting. Because if Mitch misses time, it's got to be someone who's good enough for me. Susan says, I really don't think the Sixers are going to be that good in the long run. It's about chemistry, and that's going to be an issue. It is, you know, and Paul George just hasn't been able to find winning chemistry. Couldn't find it with Kawhi. Let's see how that works out for them. But I'm not worried like you. I'm not worried about Philly. We did miss out on Jonas Valanciunas. That would have been a good option. Chef says Nikola Vucevic. I don't think the money can work, but certainly talent-wise, he would be a really good fit. Offensively, defensively, we'd need Mitch still here. I think to offset, you know, his deficiencies defensively. But yeah, he's an all-star. For me, I think we just got to get somebody serviceable. You know, try to get Nick Richards at a lower cost. Try to get Jalen Duren without giving up the farm. I think those two make the most sense for me. And then if you're cool just running it with who we've got into the season first, and maybe waiting for the deadline, then maybe just signing Omer Yurtseven, Kenneth Lofton as just a vet minimum insurance, just in case. But for the most part, you know, with Precious back, Jericho, Hukporti, you know, that's some bodies. That's some guys that you can maybe work with, you know, in the case of Sims and Hukporti, you know, and maybe get those guys to a solid base, a more solid base, and get those guys to be more consistent, you know, and be a solid backup, right? Obviously, there's the small ball options, which I think Tibs is going to be more open to. You know, there's been a lot of talk about, you know, the Knicks having the weapons now to go a little small and stretch the floor out. I like the idea of that. What do you guys think? You know, the shooting of OG and Randall at the 5, you know, whichever way they're inverted, whoever's at the 4, whoever's at the 5. But that would give the Knicks more floor spacing in backup units. I think Precious is a really good small ball 5, you know, is really mobile, comes out on the perimeter. And I think defensively we could really, really help off our guys and really start to blitz teams defensively with the 2 wings now. We'll see if Tibs ever does that. That is actually one of the things that people don't talk enough about with Tibs. I think he likes to stick defensively with what he does, which is man-to-man. Never does zone, never wants to play zone. Some people do have an issue with that. You know, outside of he's willing to adjust, you know, with rotations and things, there are some things that Tibs will not deviate from. You know, he'll stick to that strictly. Small ball was another thing, right? He never liked to play Julius at the 5. He was always rim protection with that. So, but, as I said before, and one of the reasons why the off-season has been an A for me overall, Tibbs' tenure an A-, but the off-season's been an A. We've made a lot of other upgrades. Casey Smith, the lead health science doctor with the NBA, with the Dallas Mavericks. Now, he's come across, he's going to help our guys now stay in peak shape, peak physical health and conditioning, right? So shout out to Dolan for investing in more of that, right? More coaches and more help with that, guys. So it's been a great day in Knicks land. We talked about TNT getting the deal and returning, and part of my childhood is going to be rekindled with that. And the New York Knicks also bring back their OG coach, Tom Thibodeau, the longest tenured coach now since Red Holzman. Shout out to him. But let's continue the work. The work isn't finished yet. Finish the business. Can Tom Thibodeau be the second coach to lead us to a championship now? As the second, the most tenured coach since Red, can he be the next championship coach since Red? Right. A lot of guys have come in and tried and failed. Right. But we are poised in the best position since Jeff Van Gundy and Pat Riley. Right. Can he put his name, right, in the history books to lead the team to a championship? He's got his guy Mo Cheeks. Now, we've got long-time assistant coach Mark Bryant now with the bigs. So I'm liking what we're doing, man. We're cooking. Now let's get this center position fixed up. I like the guys we have on the fringes, but I just don't think I want to go all the way into a season without another guy. You know, we do need Precious back and another solid veteran. So let's get it. Frederick, Georgie, Susan, Johnny, Kerry, Michael, Dirty Dancer, Jabroni, Buzzer Beater. Let's go, Chef, Shezvi, Danny. Guys, salute to you. Salute Replay Squad as well. We'll be back live later this week with a guest. We'll be recapping their thoughts on Summer League and the Knicks rookies as we'll start to preview training camp, and we'll get more news about preseason schedule come out too. But it's been a great day in Knicks land. Stay blessed, everyone. Please smash that like button. The Knicks streets are buzzing, and I will see you soon, everyone. Peace.